Did he get it? Yeah, he had it the whole time. Begging. I'm gonna bet you. Didn't want the jerkbait, but put that minnow in front of him and he couldn't handle it. It's weird, he would not react at all to the jerkbait. So today we're on a lake. You know, I haven't fished very much at all. I kind of needed something fresh. And you can see we started with 4 or 5 rods. And you know what we want to do today is come out to a lake that we've not been to and establish, you know, a pattern or two. And literally we idled from the boat ramp, just looking and just started fishing. And a lot of guys, you know, the question I probably get the most is, how do you break down a new lake? There's no secrets. I mean, there's no like run to this waypoint or run to this waypoint. You just have to start fishing and use your experience that you have and develop a pattern. So today, you know, driving to the boat ramp, it's 20-something degrees. That eliminates buzzbaits, topwaters, you know, things like that. You have to kind of have an idea before you get there. Well, it's going to be cold, so more than likely these fish, the biggest population of them is going to be deep. So that's where we started. I mean, we're setting 100 yards, 80 yards off of the bank. We're not all that deep at 20 foot, but you know, we're just going to try to establish something. And the way you do that is you just, you know, you try to get bites. You know, you try to get as many bites as you can, and then once you start getting bites, then you try to find the bigger ones. And you know, we haven't been here long, and we just got our first bite. And I see another one right there. He's on the bottom. You know, these days when you go to a new lake, it's a lot. It's not as, I shouldn't say it's not as hard as it used to be in being efficient because of LiveScope. Because, you know, used to we fished down a stretch and the only thing you could see was under your boat, you know, and you're throwing your bait, your jerk bait or whatever, and you don't know if there's fish swimming or not. And literally I went, you know, 75 yards and I didn't see anything but crappie and shad. And then I come around this corner right here and I just saw 2 or 3 fish that looked like bass. So that, you know, I slowed down. You know, back in the old days, not that, you just had to fish, you had to develop it off of bites. And now, you know, you can kind of cruise along until you see some and then, you know, try to target those fish. You know, what I'm looking for right now is fish, brush, rocks, you know, anything that's a high percentage cast. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, you know, because my goal is to, you know, to fish a lot of area today to try to find something special. But just move and look. You know, if I'm seeing one here, one there, that's not the population that I want to find. I want to find some that's, you know, I want to look down there and see 15 or 20 and try to get them to bite. It's just weird to me that, you know, there was 2 of them up higher in perfect jerkbait range. And I brought that jerkbait over the top of them and like they didn't do anything. And I almost thought that they were, that they weren't bass. But when I dropped that minnow in that one's nose, he came and got it. I don't know, it doesn't look like a bass, but it just doesn't have that look of a bass. See, that's a bass. Here it comes. Oh, he turned it down. He got it. He had it the whole time. Never felt him bite. Never felt him bite. I saw the way he was swimming. I thought he had it, but I never felt him. That's a big old fat one. Learning something, you know. I put that jerkbait close to 2 of them now. Nothing. And he went nuts on the minnow. So on jerkbait especially, but a lot of treble hook baits, I use a snap. You know, it's just a little single snap. Main reason is on a jerkbait is just to create a little head weight to get that bait to dive a little deeper. You know, crankbaits and stuff like that, it takes place of the old school, you know, loop knot where it just lets the bait work freely. But like on a jerkbait, if I give it a, you know, if it starts from there and jerks, it's going to go, not going to get as deep. If it's already angled, when you jerk it, you're getting deeper and deeper. You know, I can, using my rod, I can fish the bait shallower, but it's hard to get it deeper. There's nothing I can do other than to get the angle of the bait, you know, put weight and stuff on it. But I like it with not a lot of weight on it. This one actually is just a neutral bait, like it just sets. But you can see in the water there, like when I jerk it, notice the head down. It knocks the nose down a little bit. If I can get one off, these things are probably 20 years old. Just want to add one to, I want it sinking just a little bit, because a lot of them that I've seen so far are like 12 or 13, and I can keep the bait above them. And then whenever I get close to them, I can just let it set, and it's going to drop right in their face. Hopefully, that's the plan. Here he comes. He's still behind it. Just like, it's like they don't want to swim that fast. Well, I got, you know, on this little spot here, just a little high spot, and there's a few rocks, but there, I mean, there's a bunch of fish. I say a bunch, you know, 6 or 8, but they all look big. And I just, a lot of times on these spots like this, you know, I caught a couple, but they're following my bait, and it's like they've seen it too much, so I'm gonna try, you know, like a jig, just trying some different baits to see if I can get one to react. The jig's not, a lot of them are up high, but whenever I get close to the bottom, you'll see one break off the bottom, so I'm just gonna try to drag a jig through there and see. I don't have, you know, with the water being not that clear, you don't have that big a strike zone, which means I gotta land it pretty close to them. Am I gonna catch up with him before? I just had to follow him. I couldn't reel fast to catch him. I just had to follow him. There's a better one. Big old black tail. And you could tell, like on LiveScope, he looked bigger on LiveScope. God, it surprises me how good they're biting it with it. 3 foot, 2 or 3 foot visibility. Come here, buddy. That's a better one. Choked it. Look at that. Big old black tail. How? Because he had it the whole time. I was like, how did I not get bit right there? Boy, these fish are fat and pretty. You know, the last bait that I thought I was going to catch them on today was this. Just, you know, you got 2 foot of visibility, but they're just, I wanted to catch them on a jerkbait. They're just deeper. And the ones that I get to come up, they won't bite it. It's just like it's too calm. So we're going to throw this at them. There's just like a little stump there. And there was 4 or 5 on it. I just never seen one react. And then when I tightened my line up, we had to chase him for a long time to finally turn his head right. Come here, buddy. It's just weird, I just can't get them to, as bad as I want to catch them jerking, I can't get them to react. I'll catch them on a spinning rod. Boy, they're all just pretty. I don't know how many casts, 3 or 4, that I made at him. And once you use LiveScope a lot, you'll learn like which way they're swimming according to the picture. You know, like, you know, what it reads is the bulk of it. You know, if he's sideways like this, you can see him good. And I even think you can see him pretty good head. But when they're swimming away from you, I still see them, but they're just not as bright as they are whenever they're looking at you or sideways. The bait. They don't want to get it down low. And you know what could be the case is this water. We had some rain a while back. This water could be dirtier down deeper, and they're just not seeing the bait as good. Did he get it? Yeah, he had it the whole time. Begging. I'm gonna bet you. Come off an isolated stump. Begging. Like they were just swarming. Looked like red wasp going around it. Big one's got black tails. You notice that? Look how pretty. Look at just solid black tail. You know, a lot of people have had comments and stuff about the settings. You know, the settings, we've done a lot of videos over it. The gain, you have to play with. You know, right now I'm 69, but this is a pretty soft bottom. Go up until your screen gets really fuzzy like that, and then back it off. You know, and that's really it. I mean, forward, you know, I'm 80 foot out there. I set my depth in manual. I think the biggest thing is your power source. You gotta have ample power for that picture to read real good. You know, and here's another thing too. The picture always looks better when there's a bunch of fish around. I think that's some of it, but the power source is the key. Power source, you know, I run 8 gauge directly to the black boxes. And then just your settings and color gain. You know, you want to play with your color gain, which what color gain does is it brightens up your hard stuff. You know, whenever I'm throwing a little bitty bait like the Sonar minnow, I want my color gain pretty high because I want to pick up something, you know, that's smaller. Other than that though, I mean, there's really nothing else as far as settings. That's not it. Just gotta hit them. Like I'm watching these fish. It's like it's the reverse. Like they're coming out those shad are 30 and 35. And it's like they go down there and feed, and then they come back up high and rest. Because literally, you'll watch them, see them down there swimming, and then they just come up. It's like they go down there and eat, and then when they're done, they come up here, you know, 10, 15 foot and rest. This is him. Choked it in his throat. You know, winter fishing can be like that. Last video we did, we caught one, had 3 bites all day. Never felt like I was around a fish and wondered if I could even catch a bass. Today it's just been dumb. And it can be that way. You know, there's days you get around them and they're easy to catch, and then there's days you fish all over the stinking lake and don't get a bite. Hope you learned something. We're gonna go get some supper. Appreciate you guys riding along.